So it's finally here. We get to talk about your B-Day trip.
It was so fantastic.
We were talking about the Book of Mormon.
Yeah.
Always wanted to see it.
Yeah. Well, and as an Exmo, it's something that I was kind of intrigued by, especially because when it first came out, I was fully in it. And I was like, how dare they? And then I went and saw it. I was like, okay, this is hilarious and super fun.
Well, we might as well start from the beginning, which is Trey Parker as a college student in Colorado.
Right.
Who encountered several people of the LDS faith. And, look, I mean, he's an equal opportunity offender. We know that. Mm-hmm. He'll make fun of everybody and anybody.
Right.
And do it in a hilarious way in pretty much everything. South Park. What's the All About the Mormons episode, season 7, episode 12? Dum, 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 dum.
Yeah.
And then what Karley didn't know, did we watch Orgasmo before or after?
Did. We watched Orgasmo first, and I think that was the first movie that they did, correct?
Yeah, well, it was actually Trey Parker's second movie because he did Cannibal the Musical.
Oh, which we still haven't seen.
It's great.
And I love me a musical.
Yeah.
So, I love me a critter, and I love me a musical.
Spadoinkle.
That's why I love cats so much.
You are going to love Spadoinkle Day.
Oh my gosh, I can't wait.
It's a runaway hit. And it actually starts with that, I think, and the whole rest of the musical is downhill from there.
I mean, let's watch it tonight after the show.
But Orgasmo is basically the story of an LDS missionary who becomes unwittingly a porn star.
Yeah.
But not really, but kind of.
Kind of. Which, okay, so am I to understand here that Trey Parker was not actually a Mormon? He just encountered them and thought they were fascinating?
Correct.
Okay, that explains a lot because he gets a lot of things totally wrong about Mormonism.
Yeah, and I just want to mention that even before all of this, I refer you to South Park Season 4, Episode 10, where the kids are in hell, and the new arrivals ask, well, who was right? Because there were a lot of surprised people there, obviously.
Right.
And the main demon in charge looks at his list and says, it was the Mormons. Yes, I'm sorry, the Mormons, everybody. They were right. So I'm pretty sure Trey just does whatever the funny joke is.
I agree.
That said, it was a trip to watch the Book of Mormon. And I know we're 14 years late, but it was a trip to watch it in Salt Lake City because there actually is a song called Salt Lake City.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. And every time, of course, Salt Lake City or any, main sort of premise of Mormon behavior is mentioned, the crowd just went wild and laughed. And I will say that a lot of the things in Book of Mormon didn't have to be about Mormons. It could have been about anybody, like the song Turn It Off.
Right, yeah.
Like a light switch, turn it off.
But also that is totally like a big thing in Mormonism.
Yeah, well, but it was a big thing in my Christian family growing up. Catholic family. We all stuff our feelings or ignore them completely.
Right. Ignore those sinful thoughts, you dirty, dirty beastie.
In our service to God and others.
Yeah.
So that's my quick review. What about yours?
Okay, so like I said, I did used to be a devout member of the Mormon faith, and there were lots of parts of it that I definitely saw, and I was like, dude, did you not do any research? I was a little offended by the fact that they were announcing where the missionaries were going after the MTC.
That's not how it works.
Right. There was a huge part of me that was like, you don't even know what you're talking about. How dare you?
There's a scene about the spooky Mormon hell dream.
That is my favorite song, by the way, out of the whole thing.
Oh, really?
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
But you were upset that they didn't mention outer darkness.
Yes.
In the entire thing.
Okay. Yeah. So that was another big thing. So in Mormonism, there's not really a hell. We colloquially will refer to it as hell, but the actual technical term is outer darkness. And there's no hellfire or brimstone or devils poking you with their pitchforks.
But that's what this depiction totally was.
Right.
Yeah.
But Mormon hell is just black. It is being away from God, and that being the true punishment.
Almost like, as Taylor Swift didn't originate but made famous, the expression, the opposite of love isn't hate, it's indifference.
Yes.
Just being completely isolated.
Yeah. I mean,
that may be scarier than...
It's basically solitary confinement in the dark.
My worst fear would be going on a spacewalk in outer space and being disconnected, like Dave at the end of 2001, spoiler alert.
Well, I mean, it's only from like, what, the 60s?
1969.
Yeah.
But, like, oh, shit, I'm alive and I'm just going to feel myself slowly die now.
At that point, I would just
But
take
that
off the
feeling
helmet.
for eternity.
Yeah. So there were a couple of things that I feel like you'd only get if you were raised in the church. And that makes a lot more sense that he wasn't really raised in it, but was fascinated by it, because he does a couple of things that like would never happen in true Mormonism. Like the fact that the companions split up even for a second and the other missionaries are like, well, it's fine because he's getting the job done. Like at that point they'd be like, well, clearly he's only getting the job done because he's f***ing everyone or something horrible like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
but there were a few cute, like in Orgasmo, there's a really cute exchange between the man on his mission, who's Trey Parker, and his girlfriend back home who's waiting for him.
Right.
She always says before she hangs up, Jesus and I love you, which I actually thought was
Very
super cute, super sweet. And in the Book of Mormon, the Josh Gad character talks about how his mom would always say, well, tomorrow's a latter day. Things that I'm not sure, I highly doubt.
No real devout Mormon would actually say.
Well, and I want to say this too. Seeing these things and watching these parodies do not change my feelings or love for my good LDS friends in the least bit.
There is definitely a part of me that is really grateful for growing up in the church, because I think that it did instill some... I think it made me a much more thoughtful person than I might have otherwise been.
And I love Monty Python's Life of Brian. Right. I love Mel Brooks' History of the World Part 1, where they do the Inquisition.
Yeah.
Pretty much any faith can be parodied, and it's not really going to change my feelings.
Right. I thought it was super funny, especially as someone who was raised in it. There were lots of parts of it that really rang true with me. Especially the But Mostly Me song.
Yes.
Where he sings about how he's going to change the world and he's going to help everyone on his Mormon mission and stuff. Like, I saw so many young men leave my church, go on their mission. They're like, I'm going to help so many people. It was that sweet and, so optimistic view.
Yes. Well, and in a way, self-centered.
A little bit.
And that's just young people in general.
Yes.
They're young, dumb, and full of optimism.
Yes.
And naivete.
Yeah.
Psycho Sullivan. But yeah.
Yeah.
Again, a lot of the traits that he attributed to just LDS people could be attributed to people.
Youths in general.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, I thought it was a really fun play. It was super funny. It was, it felt a lot like a live action South Park episode.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the music was great.
And they had some cheap, crude jokes like, we have here on IFAF. And I'm sure that some people rolled their eyes at those, but I was like,
You know what? One thing that really pissed me off, you're telling me that 15 years ago, you didn't have Google Translate and you just had to come up with Hasadiga Ibowe instead of what it actually means according to the play, which it's a nonsense sentence.
It is a nonsense phrase. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, it's not that hard to Google that phrase in like Swahili or Afrikaans or whatever language. I don't know what they speak in.
Where did they go? Uganda?
Uganda.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I feel like a butt. I should really know this.
Should you? Did you go on your mission there?
No, but I mean, like, I feel like a dumb American not knowing my geography.
And maybe it was because the missionaries went to Africa on their mission, but there were definitely a few Lion King references in there.
Yes.
But then there were a couple of Star Wars references in there. Lord of the Rings.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, it's because one character is a huge nerd, which I did. Yeah. Which, by the way, if you don't know, Josh Gad played Olaf in Frozen. So you can put a voice to the name.
And he played, this character who sort of slightly misinterpreted the Book of Mormon in order for people to receive it a little bit better.
Yeah. I mean, at the end, a lot of people decided to embrace it. So good for them.
Anyway, I think 2 thumbs up from us.
Yeah, and can I just say that I was totally right about how I saw the picture of Josh Gad, and what a good actor, because he's so expressive in this still frame that I knew exactly how his character was, and I said, oh, he looks like a sweet summer child, and guess what? That's exactly what his character is. So you go, Josh Gad.
And then while we were on a Trey Parker, South Park, Book of Mormon kick, Orgasmo, we also watched basketball.
Yeah, and Primeval America, or American Primeval.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so we watched Heretic, which the church doesn't approve of. We went to see Book of Mormon. So we've started, and we finished, right? Yeah.
Yes, we started and finished American Primeval, and we did just barely start Under the Banner of Heaven. With Andrew Garfield in it, by the way, which I was not expecting, but okay.
Back to American Primeval. Is that Netflix or Hulu?
Netflix.
It's about the Mountain Meadows Massacre.
Yeah.
It stars, Brigham Young is a pretty big figure in this. Fictionalized account.
Yeah, I will say.
So is Jim Bridger.
I could tell pretty quick into it that it was like dramatized and a little bit more than, there's no way they would have known some of this stuff.
But I think Yellowstone is such a big deal right now.
Right. My mom keeps telling me to watch Yellowstone. I think we need to watch it.
Nathan told us to watch it with this Pocatello land grab thing. So, but now we're watching all the stuff the church doesn't approve of just to put it on. We get on themes, you see.
Yeah.